Hey everybody, this is Space Marine Steve from Play on Tabletop, and I am so excited to welcome you into our studio today with
me,
Tech Kawana.
and we are here to do another army showcase. This time though, tables have turned, and we're interviewing you.
So this is an army showcase of my Astral Claws army, and this was painted beautifully by Siege Studios, and I'm over the moon with how this looks. I approached Siege Studios. They have got a fantastic gallery. I was looking through it. I love the work that they do. We got a lot of those kind of artists that have won Golden Demons before, which is really intense. Golden Demons actually a really cool painting award that is like all bragging rights from what I can tell.
To reach that echelon, I would just wonder how it feels to have a model that you can point at and say, this has won a Golden Demon, or won a Crystal Brush, or just one of those things. It would be pretty incredible feeling.
It's something that I know, like, I would love to achieve that one day. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get there.
What we need to do is we need to balance, first and foremost, we want to create content and have you guys watch the content. So we've got to balance how much time we're spending making the battles versus how much time we're prepping for the battles. And we spend a lot of time prepping for battles. Working with a commission painter
is what has made our lives a lot easier. Like, because now I know that when I bring my Astral Claws to play on the channel, I know that they're at the highest quality that I could get them at, right? I know that they're all completed, they're all finished. Like, the amount of prep that we have to do in lead up to one of those games is kind of minimal. And then when we get thrown curveballs, like you gotta paint terrain or you gotta paint a random model or something like that. There's something that's actually just recently come up. We had a sponsorship and the model was much larger than we thought it was gonna be. And we had to paint it in a very short amount of time for filming. And so the thing is there's a lot of prep that goes on, and when we're doing things for the channel, we don't always get to do things for us.
Though painting that model was a lot of fun. I wish we had more time with it. Holding onto this thing, and you're trying to shove it into a paint booth. Yes.
Okay.
And your paint booth, well, you know what? Paint booth here.
Yeah.
Model here. So I'm like spraying this thing, and I'm just hoping that the spray is being caught by the booth behind it. It was intense.
You'll see that soon. You'll see that.
And it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Now, we also have a lot of painter's pride.
Yeah, we do.
And you have been painting a lot and improving your painting. We discussed that in the last army showcase.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly who's gonna be editing this. It might be you, it might be Nick, could be somebody else, but if you wanna just quickly dig back, feel free to cycle back into season 1 highlight reel, just right across here would be great. And you can actually see a lot of when I started playing on the channel with I had my Crimson Fists and my White Scars, right? And my White Scars were kind of like, they were like the bottom line of battle ready, right? Base, painted, sure, right? Like painted, but not the way that I really wanted them to be. And that was a skill thing, something that I personally needed to overcome, right? And now that takes a ton of time, like to level up in those painting, skills takes a lot of time. And something that Siege has awarded me here is I got to skip some of that, and I get to play with something that is, at a really high echelon of detail on the channel right now while I level up.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because I think all of us will want to eventually have painted the armies that we play, because again, there's that pride, and when you're fielding an army that is your own completely in terms of like the hobbying was yours, the painting was yours, it's a fantastic feeling.
It is.
But when you need to do this many battle reports and play this many games and get a variety of armies onto the channel.
You need something that's out of the box and ready to rock. Like, it's true, right? Like, and the thing is like the funny. I actually have a really good story about this.
The one where you got the lore completely wrong? Is that story?
Actually, that was on purpose, but actually, you know what? Okay, I'll go to that story in a second. But so the day that I got these, actually, so the day that you finally get your models back from like a commission painter, was a weird experience. I've never been so like excited to receive my own stuff. But I was really excited. I got an email from the delivery courier that said like, boom, your package has been delivered. And I was driving at the time. It was like, ding, ding, and it like goes through my Bluetooth, and it was like email from the courier. And I was like, let's turn this thing around. And I just like whirled around, went back home.
Without breaking any laws.
I broke 0 laws. Anyways, so I got home, and funny enough, I was actually going to play on the channel that night. And what happened was I was on my way to get a coffee and then go to filming, play Tanya.
And you had a backup army in the front seat.
Backup army in the front seat, because this was taking a little while to get through customs, et cetera, because it comes from the UK. That's where Siege Studios is. Here in Canada, it took a little while, right? So, but I got this and I was like, I'm showing up late, guys. Just whirl it around. And I got home and I like took it all out of the package, and it was wild.
That game looked fantastic.
It
like
did,
absolutely fantastic. Tanya's paint level is amazing.
Yeah.
Right, and to have 2 amazingly painted armies on the table at the same time.
It's
Like I love seeing it at tournaments. I love going to tournaments to see that as well.
Episode 3 came right out of the gates, right? Like it was.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Episode 3 came right out of the gates, and it was something. It was something special. We had beautiful armies. It was a compelling game. Super interesting to watch, and the models do actually contribute to that. Literally the day I got them was the day that I played my first game with them, and it was on film. Yeah, so there was a little bit of a learning curve going in there, but that's all right. I figured it out.
You play them as Ultramarines though.
That's because they are Ultramarines. So the Astral Claws, so here, okay. All right. So I get it. The Astral Claws went to chaos after the Badab War fiasco. Let's call it a fiasco. So after the Badab War fiasco, they decided to just jump the line. And yes, in the current storyline, they actually become like Red Corsairs. Like Huron is actually like Huron Blackheart. Like that, it's a thing. Okay. However, and I get that there's no like Primaris version because they didn't get Primaris Marines. However, this was something that I've always wanted I've always wanted an Astral Claws army, but it's silver, and I didn't have a lot of confidence painting silver, so I asked Siege to do it. But looking at their rules, so I'm a gamer, and I've said it a few times, I'm a gamer first. Their rules support Primaris models. There's more assault weapons. There's more, it's true. The rules promote Primaris models because there's more assault weapons, and they can advance and shoot without detriment, etc., where the mini Marine versions, Vintage Marines, where the Vintage Marine versions, they don't have access to those kind of weapons as much. And so also the new models, they look great. They're super crisp, and I just wanted it, YouTube land. I just wanted it. Okay, so I did it.
I think it was Tanya that coined this, but we invented the Stevieverse. And in the Stevieverse,
anything can happen, and your dreams can come true.
So we begrudgingly allowed your dreams to come true.
And so I'm forging the hardest of narratives here, and
some lamenters would like an apology.
Some lamenters would like an apology. Yeah, so I'm forging a hard narrative here, and I'm saying like maybe they're trying to work back into the Emperor's good graces.
Oh,
Does anybody believe that? I believe it.
Sure, I will believe that.
So that maybe, maybe they're trying to, work off a horrible war. Traitorous war, it's fine. The Badab War was rough for a lot of people, okay? Like,
you're going with the I did nothing wrong.
if it works for Magnus, then it works for me, I guess.
Playing the game that we play, it really is about forging your own narrative.
It is true.
Yeah. You know what? In maybe secretly, some of them were spies for the Imperium, working with the Red Corsairs. Sure. And then, now that the jig is up, they've passed through the Rubicon and come back wearing their old
colors. Yeah. It looks sharper and silver.
We're storytellers here.
Yeah. So they're totally loyalists. It's totally fine.
You chose Astral Claws specifically because you wanted a silver army.
I've always wanted an Astral Claws army. The Forge World chapters, Astral Claws, like Minotaurs, Space Sharks. They're not actually called that, but I love calling them Space Sharks. Charizards. Yeah, but yeah. But I've always, like, the Forge World chapters are all like so awesome, and so I picked the one that I thought was like the most awesome, but also the one that I thought was like the hardest to paint. And I was like, let's make Siege do that one. This commission painters also, it's great to make them paint things that you don't want to.
Now, did you choose this army and what you wanted Siege to paint because of your playstyle, or did you choose aesthetically?
So a little bit, this is aesthetically. I picked practically, and sometimes this happens. So every so often, I've seen comments be like, why is Steve running this? Or why is Steve doing that? Well, gather around the fireplace, because I'm about to tell you all. I picked these Hellblasters because I had a box of Hellblasters that I could mail them. I picked this Redemptor because I had a Redemptor in box that I could mail them. I picked an Impulsor, not because it's particularly good or synergistic with the army, but because I won one at a tournament a long time ago and I never built it, and I could mail it to them. And then beyond that, this is like during COVID times, right? And stock levels were kind of low at that point in time, and they fluctuate through as we go through this journey all together. But a lot of this was just what was in stock at the time. So there's a little bit of like disconnect sometimes in like what I was gonna pick and how it all kind of synergistically worked together. But sometimes there is a challenge in making do with what you have, right? And working with the options that are presented to you. I built to the chapter tactic, right? I looked and said, all right, well, they need assault weapons. How many assault weapons can I throw into the army? Assault plasmas, assault bolters, even the bolt rifles on the Reavers too, all assault weapons. And so I leaned into that, right? And as I was constructing what this army was kind of gonna look like, I then also went, all right, well, I need a couple of like centerpieces, right? When you're building an army, you usually try and choose some kind of focal point, right? And I know when I arrange them on the board or I arrange them like on my shelf at home, I like having some kind of center point, and that was the Dreadnought. And there's some great shots of the Dreadnought in the game with Tanya, right? There's some great shots of the Dreadnought in the game with Tycho. So I played against Tycho and his Inquisition, right? And so I picked one model that I really wanted done as well as they could do.
The Redemptor Dreadnought, I think, is my favorite model in the line.
My one criticism of that model, aside from it does look amazing, but every so often I do think that it's gonna bust through a brick wall and offer a bunch of people Kool-Aid. Oh yeah! With 2 jugs of Kool-Aid, let's go, boys! Like, so that's what sometimes when I look at it, like that's what I think, like hits through and boom, Kool-Aid.
No.
You don't see it?
No,
I see it a little.
No.
And there's gonna be a group of people on the internet that now can't unsee it.
Internet's gonna be fine.
You don't know that, Zach.
It's only you, Steve.
It's just me. I'm the only one who sees it, probably.
Another thing that's just Steve is you have a interesting way of composing lists. So you typically see where the meta's going, and you look at that, and then you run over there.
Yeah, I run the other way.
Why?
I don't know. Sometimes it's out of sometimes it's like out of some kind of weird like spite. That's not spite, but like I can prove that it can go the other way too. Like
Challenge?
Yeah, it's challenge. I like to be challenged, and so I really like including models or units that maybe don't get used often or I feel are undervalued kind of like in the general 40K ecosystem. And for example, like a unit like that right now would be like, I absolutely love these ATVs and they're pretty good. I think they're maybe a little expensive, but I love using these ATVs to zoom around the board, like get good targets on like big threats. Same with Hellblasters. I don't see near enough Hellblasters, but my Hellblasters in almost all of my games have been like absolutely awesome. Put them around that banner so that they can shoot when they die, right? Give them rerolls with some of the Ultramarine strats. They're helped by the Dreadnought, they're helped by the Captain, they're helped by the Lieutenant. They are they're great like coming out of a impulsor, because the impulsor can move.
One of your favorite tricks?
One of my favorite tricks, move the impulsor, get the guys out, overcharge, and boom, your problems are done, right? And it's just, that's the way it is. And using a big squad of them like that, you can combat squad them and keep them all together if you want. You can just run 5. And the assault version, because I don't get the detriments, they get to shoot well all the time. They get to move quick all the time. And it's strong shooting all the time. And I like going that way. And you can see in the game against Tycho and in the upcoming game against a really old friend of mine, Mike, my Hellblasters do a ton of work. So, spoiler alert. They'll be fine. My Hellblasters are awesome. I love them, but you should just see it for yourself. So that is on Patreon right now, right? Did we just upload that to Patreon?
Oh, we did.
Yeah, we totally did. So you can actually go to Patreon right now. If you become a Patreon supporter, you can go and watch that game against Mike, my Astral Claws versus his Eldar. We haven't had Eldar on the channel forever.
Going back to getting commission painting done, is we're going to endeavor to get more help or more armies painted, because we want to have more Eldar on the channel, or more Tyranids on the channel, more everything on the channel.
New Thousand Suns, new Grey Knights.
I just bought the box.
You just bought the box. Yeah, I know. I see it in the office.
And we get this all the time. We need sisters on the channel.
I know. We need sisters on the channel.
Oh, so we're working on it.
We're working on it.
The promise is, bear with us for a little bit longer. We are working on it.
Seeing what Siege has done for it now, I think we might go back there in the future, because Siege is like, the proof is in front of you.
You couldn't go for the line?
No. Well, what line are you talking about? Does anyone say that line anymore? I don't think so. I want a little clip of like, you've been like, the proof is in the pudding. Does anyone say that anymore? No, Tack. No, they don't.
Oh, I'm feeling so old.
Yes.
So you like to be challenged?
I like to be challenged. Yeah,
I've got more challenges for you.
Yeah, you got more challenges? Good.
And one of the challenges that we have here is you're going back to work soon.
I am going back to work, yeah. So I work as a teacher, and I teach, right now I teach performing arts for middle school, so grades 6, 7, and 8 here in British Columbia, BC. And so we're going back to school, and it's gonna be a wild adventure again. I'm sure it will be. And I'm also taking my Master's of Education right now, which has been a lot. It's actually kind of like if someone just casually told you to read all of the Lord of the Rings series in the span of like 3 weeks, and then write a 20-page paper on it. But instead of the Lord of the Rings, it's like dense educational theory.
Sounds
just great.
Great.
Just
yeah.
great. My retina's hurt. Everything hurts. So I'm doing that right now. So I'm teaching, and I'm going to school, and I'm helping to keep the spirit alive of Play on Tabletop. That's really what my job is.
We are going to miss you.
Around the office?
Around the office, because
When productivity skyrockets again.
I'm actually really looking forward to that. Having Steve at the office, productivity kind of goes, because like every now and then someone says something Space Marines, and then
so sometimes things are super productive and it's great having me around, and then sometimes it's like, Steve, stop talking to me about bolt rifles. Which bolt rifle do you think is just talking about bolt rifle?
what you need to realize is the editor is going to do exactly the same thing to you again.
I know. Damn it.
I don't even know how to end this interview now.
I don't really know how to end this interview either.
Can we just like end it? Like
Maybe we could just.
we're just done. So you're going back to school.
How do we end this interview? I had like a list of talking points, and I was like, all right, we talked about Siege Studios, like we've talked about like getting a commissioned army, right? We've talked about some of the games. We got the one with Mike on Patreon. I played the game with Tycho. Got the game with Tanya.
Oh, I got it.
Great.
I got it. Is this the year of Steve?
Most definitely.
And until we see you next time,
Play on. You have the dumbest interviews. I love it.